Hey PELWELL family, welcome! Today we're going to discuss principle number 3 of intuitive eating, which is how to make peace with food. How often during the day do you find yourself thinking about food? For example, as soon as you're done eating breakfast, are you already thinking, oh, what am I going to have for lunch? And as soon as you finish lunch, you're already thinking, what am I going to have for dinner? Having that constant thinking about food is possibly a trigger that you're hungry, and that can stem from putting restrictions on foods that we enjoy, which is why it is so important to make peace with food. Let's end the war with food once and for all. Call it a food truce, end the food fight, and let's make peace with food. How do we do this? Let's find out. 4 things that you can do to make peace with food. First of all, get rid of the idea that there are good or bad foods out there. This is not bad. This is not good. Food has no moral value, so we can't label it good or bad. Number 2, stop feeling guilt or shame around the foods that you eat. If you enjoy a food and you eat it, that did not make you bad. So don't feel guilty or shameful over eating something that was just simply put, food. Number 3, allow yourself unconditional permission to eat. Unconditional is defined as not subject to any conditions. So how do we know if we're putting conditions around our food? Here's a quick quiz. Do you exercise in order to earn food? For example, if you didn't exercise that day, do you have to skip a food that you normally would enjoy? Do you suffer from feelings or guilt or shame after eating a certain food item? Do you only allow certain foods once you've reached a certain weight on the scale? And do you have food rules about how often you can eat certain foods that you enjoy or when you can eat them? If you answered yes to any of those questions, you are putting conditions around your eating experiences. And ultimately, those conditions are going to prevent you from making peace with food and achieving the joy that comes from being an intuitive eater. Learn what foods you actually like and what foods make you feel good. Sometimes when a food's been on our restricted list for so long, we feel the temptation to eat it. But as we allow that food in more often, we might realize, I don't really like this food. And then finding foods that make us feel good means physically feel good, foods that can be nourishing for us. But foods that make you feel good also emotionally. Food can be an emotional experience, so allow yourself to enjoy that as well. A fear that can hold us back from doing this principle of making peace with food can feel like, I can't trust myself around those specific food items. That's why they're on my restricted list. Well, let me ask you this, especially if you've been dieting for years. Has any diet that you've been on led to long-term success? What do I mean by that? Were you able to lose weight, keep it off, and enjoy life to the point where that diet could suit you for the rest of your life? I'll give you time to think about that. I'm back. Were you able to come up with something? Yeah, I wasn't able either when I started my journey to intuitive eating, because anytime we put a restriction on a food, that restriction, it plays a mind game on us where it's all that we can think about. So if a diet has restrictions with it, which all diets do, then it's not something that we can do for life. Yeah, we may have lost weight in the short term and it was exciting, but most the time after that diet ends, we gain the weight back, and unfortunately sometimes more. But no matter what, a diet is not something that we can do for life. So we need to make peace with food. So this is a way of life, a journey to becoming an intuitive eater forever. Now, a quick warning here. Beware of the thinking, I can eat whatever I want, as much as I want it, whenever I feel like it. That type of mindset can actually distort the premise of intuitive eating. Yes, make peace with food and enjoy what you enjoy. Give yourself the freedom to eat unconditionally and to eat as much as you need to satisfy your body. That's the trick. So eating whenever you feel like it without regard to hunger or fullness might not be a very satisfying experience, and it might lead to those feelings of being overly full and uncomfortable. So yes, we can enjoy food unconditionally without judgment or shame, but also making sure that we're listening into our bodies and we're eating the foods and the quantities of it that are good for our bodies. Changing from diet rules to food freedom can bring up fears and challenges that are natural with this process. Intellectually, the process is simple, but emotionally, it can take time and require support. Changing from diet rules to food freedom will bring up fears and challenges that are natural with this process. Intellectually, the process is simple, but emotionally it can take time and require support. So as you embark on this journey, be patient with yourself and compassionate also. And if you need a little extra helping hand, reach out to me for my coaching services, as I would love to assist you on your journey for intuitive eating, and I will include a link to my webpage below for our coaching services. I recently wrote a blog on this subject of making peace with food that goes into much more detail than this video time will allow. So if you want to dig in deeper, make sure you head over to my webpage and check out that blog, as it's really going to give you the foundation that you need to start on this step. And again, I'll make sure I include a description below so that way you can easily access it. One way to start to make peace with food again is to challenge the food police. What does that mean? That's going to be the subject of next week's video. So make sure you subscribe below, turn on notifications, and check out next week's video as you continue on your journey to become an intuitive eater. Thank you for joining in for our video today, PELWELL family, and until next time, be well.